Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is our second present web series around no-code platforms. Some time back, we spoke about what is a no-code platform, what is DIY, and how it is actually becoming a game changer, and why is it the future of business process management. So, as a second step today, we will speak about how easily a customer can build an application via the no-code platforms. We will largely talk about why is it so relevant today, and why are more and more customers looking forward towards no code. So we will briefly dwell around that. So the topic for today's discussion will be how do we automate business processes with no code. Just to give you a brief introduction again, my name is Joseph. I head sales at Sports Technologies, and I would want this discussion along with my colleague Hassan. Hassan leads our BA pre-sales at Sports, and he's been responsible to help customers configure our applications effectively. Welcome to the discussion, Hassan.
Thank you, Joseph. Hi, everyone.
So what is a no-code platform? We very largely heard about no-code platform in our previous webinar, where we had Ram, who discussed with us about the importance of no-code. So essentially, a platform that helps customers to spin up applications or configure applications with ease. While it enables them to do to build up those applications at their end without really having to invest in people who really are technical. Somebody who's a functional person should be able to, who understands business, should be able to, quickly spin up an application, make changes to it in real time, so that businesses can come to the market quickly, right? So that is what a no-code platform predominantly helps you. So with effort, we've been in business for the last decade. We've successfully managed to bring in a little over 150 customers from diverse industry verticals with different kinds of use cases. Now, that's one of the biggest benefits that the no-code platform gives you. You're not glued to a specific use case, or you're not glued to a specific industry, right? As a tech organization, we believe that we may not understand your business in its entirety, but we enable technology to help you transform digitally. We enable to ensure that it helps you to build the applications that you want to solve your business problems, be it from a field or from a workflow perspective. So today, with effort, we've helped umpteen number of customers with various kinds of industries. So today we're present in a little over 10 plus industries and growing, right? So we see business challenges in different kinds of industries, where people come to us saying that, hey, while I have a lot of applications to manage my businesses internally, I really don't have something that I can give access to people on the field. Is there something that we can do, and how well can you integrate that back with my business, right? So that is where effort helps. And this can be pitched to customers of various sizes. So today we have customers who are 25 users. We have customers who are a little over 20,000 users as well. So the effort platform, today being on SaaS, gives you the flexibility, from an infrastructure perspective, to grow based on how the organization grows, and the platform is enterprise ready, which makes it possible even for enterprises to adopt to a platform like effort. How does effort help you, and what are the various kinds of features? While I speak about it, my colleague Hassan will take you through how easy it is to build an application, right? As simple as dragging and dropping a few functions, define a process, and then quickly define conditions in it, customize your workflows the way you want, integrate it with multiple business applications that you may have in the back end without actually sabotaging them, to ensure that there is a real integration that is built, where data flows seamlessly from the application that you build into a business application and back from the business application onto the platform. So without much ado, I will quickly hand it over to Hassan. Hassan will basically take us through how easy it is to build an application. What when we say a DIY, Hassan will basically show you why we mean it. Why do we think it is DIY, and we probably will run you through a use case as well, which could be slightly complex, but Hassan will basically show us how easy it is to basically spin up an application. It's over to you, Hassan.
Thank you, Joseph, for setting the context and taking it forward. So as Joseph has already mentioned, so we'll first see the power of DIY, where we can actually configure or design forms based on any business convenience, and then a process that actually sequences these forms or steps that a particular user can actually follow it, right? So we'll see how easy it is to get this done, and then following that, we will also see a typical use case of a service management, how a ticket can be raised, how it is getting assigned to a technician, and how the ticket gets to a closure, right? So I'll just present my screen now.
So while Hassan presents his screen, if you would have any questions during the call, please feel free to raise your hand. There is a hand icon there. Please press that. We will know that there are questions that you'd like to ask, and we'll be more than happy to answer you.
Thanks. Over the course of the entire demo, I will be also transitioning from the mobile application to the web application and back and forth, so that you can actually see how multiple users are, play along with one particular flow. Right. So this is our web page where you can actually get into by typing in geteffort.com. Now, once you come into this page, there is something called as a login a button available for you. So you click on the login button here, which then allows you to do a login with an email ID and a password. Right now, so I've actually created an email ID and a password for this. I'm just going to use that here, and I'm going to use the password here. Now, once I've entered the email ID and password, I click on the login button here, where it actually welcomes me as an admin. Now, this is where the admin has all the functionalities that he can actually do with the application, right? Now, if as a business owner, once I do the login, if there are any employees that I would want to add them into the into my company, I can simply click on invite employee and have their details entered and get them onboarded. If there is any forms or any processes that I would want to design or orchestrate, I can actually click on the app builder here and get my configuration started. Based on all the data that is being captured, I would also want to prepare some reports that I could actually download in an Excel file or in a PDF, or have some certain dashboards customized, right? So in that case, I will actually click on the report studio and have all these configurations initiated for that. Now, for all of these employees and the forms and these processes that you have built, you would also want to monitor as to on a day-to-day basis what is the production that is actually happening, right? That you will be actually doing it from the web application here. Now, to show you how a DIY platform works, I will actually go to the app builder over here. So I click on the app builder. We have certain modules on the top. We have forms, we have processes. So we'll see first how to create a form, right? So I click on the forms here. We also have an option, a shortcut card that says create form. I click on the create form. There's an option that says create on my own. I click on create on my own. It opens up a page for me as a business owner or as a configurator who can actually design these forms, where I can actually enter the title of the form. So let's say I'm going to mention the form name as visit details, and then what kind of data I would want my field executives or the person on the field would want to capture, right? So I have all the fields on the left hand side here, where I have approximately more than 45 different data sets where they have their own nature, right? So let's say, for example, you would want to capture the name of the customer that he has met. You can actually drag and drop the text field here, enter, change the label of the customer, change the label to customer name. So when, as an executive, he's opening the mobile application, filling in the form, he knows what data should be entered there, right? And let's say he also wants to enter the email ID and then a phone number right, along with an image that should be captured, and a signature along with that, right? So if you see, it is very easy for you to just drag and drop your necessary fields in a form to capture the data, right? If you would also want to set these size restrictions for any of your media, you can also click on the other settings, add or remove these the restrictions, enable if they want to delete the images from the form. If the images are blurry, you can also have that enabled here as well. Now if you feel that these are, and you can also have certain drop down as well, where you can select multiple things. Let's say drop down, and you mention this as gender, and then you mention it as male, female, and other, right? So you can have this as well. Now once you feel that this form has the kind of fields that you would want the field executives to capture on the field, all you have to do is click on the publish here and click on OK. Now, once you do this, this form becomes live without any downtime required, right? It is just live like that. So I'll just show you how it looks like from the mobile's perspective, right? So I'm just going to open it here. Now, this is the application that we have for the executive on the field, right? So it is available for you on the Play Store as well as on the App Store as well. So it's called Effort NXT. So as a technician or as an executive, I can actually open up my particular mobile app here, which shows the name on the top, and then it also navigates or instructs me to do a sign in so that I'm active for the day, where I can actually mark my attendance. So all I do is I click on the sign in button here, where it captures my face and it captures my location at the bottom, right? So my manager or my supervisor will know exactly where I have done the sign in and who has done the sign in with this application. So I click on the sign in button at the bottom here. Once I've done the sign in, it actually changes to active, and it tells me that what time I have actually done the sign in. Now, if I scroll below, we have just created a new form that says visit details, right? If you see, that visit detail form is now available over here. All I have to do is click on this particular card, click on the plus icon at the bottom right corner, and then it opens up this exact same fields that you have actually used to design that particular form, right? So I can simply enter the name here. I can enter the gender. It's like a drop down. So we actually added a drop down of male, female, and others. So the same drop down is visible to you here, and then you can actually enter the email address here, right? And then you can actually have the phone number entered. Just going to enter the phone number here, and then if there's an image that has to be captured, I can simply click on upload. I have two options when I actually capture the image. I can either upload it from my gallery or capture it from the camera. So I actually capture it from the camera here, right? So I simply click on capture, and then I simply click on OK, and then that actually goes and sits in that, right? Now the best thing with these images is it also gets tagged with the location and the date and time on the image itself, so you know exactly where this image was captured and when this image was captured as well. Right? So if you see here at the bottom, it gets tagged with the image. So anyone who is actually having the access to view this particular image will have the visibility of this as well.
So Hassan, you said that from the library, right, you can upload this. What if if I'm actually not on site, and then somebody else takes a picture from there and sends it to me over WhatsApp, and I download it in my phone and then upload it? What happens then? Can we put some restrictions around that as well?
Yes. So most of the cases where where the images have to be captured on site, you also have an option to restrict the user to not upload from the gallery, where they will only have an option to capture it directly from the camera.
Okay.
Sorry.
So in this example, can we put that restriction? I mean, is it possible for us to
Yes,
decide?
we can absolutely do that. So
I'm sorry, was there a question?
Yes, sorry to interrupt, but my question was, if we choose, if we don't restrict from taking it from the gallery, and we could choose from the gallery, does it still show us the location from where we're updating it and what time we're updating it?
Exactly. Yes, it will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let's say I would want to restrict my users to not upload anything from the gallery, because in most of the scenarios, if there is an expense that has to be done, there's a possibility that the field executive might use an older image just to get the reimbursement, right? So in that scenario, I can simply click on modify design here, and then I can actually scroll down to that particular image field. And then there is something called as manage restrictions, where can pick from media from gallery can be removed, and I click on OK, and then I click on save. Right?
Oh, it's
All
as
I have
simple
to,
as that.
it is as simple as that. It's all about removing a checkbox or enabling a checkbox, and you have your functionality available there. And I
Okay,
simply
so
go back.
if a user is live on the field, right, you can just enable this and then it is available.
It is available. Now, just imagine this is the user who is on the field right now, right?
Mhm.
Now, I have actually changed it, right? It automatically gets synced, or you can also do an on-demand sync for the mobile application. I simply go to the visit details here. I click on the plus icon and I click on image. Now, if you see that upload from gallery is now removed. It is as
All
simple
right.
as that. It is as fast as that.
All right. All right.
Right now, this is how you can actually get a form configured, a form designed, and it can be available for the users on the field to actually start using it. Right now, how do we use these forms in a certain workflow? Right, it has to be a sequential flow, and once that action comes, this form should pop up, and then he enters the details. Right now, we'll see how that looks like. We have, again, I'm going to the home page here. We have something called as create process. So I click on the create process. So it asks me to create either an action process or a checklist, a case management, or an approval process. So in this entire demo, we'll be looking at the action process. So I click on the action process. I click on create on my own. Now, if you see here on the top, it actually gives me different steps to orchestrate a basic workflow, right? Although we have the capability of building up a very advanced and very restricted workflow as well, but this is just for a basic workflow that you can create, right? So let's say this is going to be a workflow that says on-site visits, right? And then I click on the next button. This is the name of the process that I've created. I click on the next button here. Now this is a page that actually gives me to enter the details to make that visit very unique from other visits that's happened, right? So I can make this as work name, as something as customer name, right? And then what time you want it to start and what time you want it to end, that the visit should be within that particular date and time, and who is the employee that you would want this particular visit to be allocated to, right? So you have that available there. Once this is done, I simply click on the next here, where it takes me to a certain page where it actually shows me all the forms that are actually available for you that you have created, right? Or let's say you have actually missed creating a form. You have a shortcut here to create a new form. You click on this, it opens up a pop-up for you where you can actually create a form of your own, right? You can also click on the next button once you have created the form.
You don't have to go back all the way and then create a
No,
form. Maybe
you
you can
don't
do it right
have
from
to.
prompt.
Exactly. So you don't have to go every time on the the exact same module to again do the the form designs and all of that. You always have a shortcut as and when you need to have that implemented, right? I'll show you again where there is another shortcut here. So let's say this is a page where I actually define the steps for the entire process, right? So what are the steps that I would want this entire process to follow? So I can add here. So I want to say the first step is left for visit. That is something that is being marked, and then reached customer location. That is the next step, and then visit completed. Now, in the visit completed, I would want that visit details form to be available to the user to fill it then, right? So what I do is I go here and then I simply select that form visit details here. Right. Now, let's say left for visit and reached customer location does not have any form, and I have not created any form for this, right? But suddenly I feel like, okay, there should be some form allocated to this so that when the user clicks on it, he opens up and fills the details. I again have an option to create the form here, where I click on this, and then I can title the form as reached customer, and then I can actually put in the date and time here, right? It goes as date and time, which I can select what date and time that I have actually reached at the customer location. All I have to do is click on publish, and that's it. The form is readily available for you. Right? So if you see, there are multiple navigations for you to do it. You have multiple shortcuts for these interdependent elements to have it available for you. All I have to do next is I click on the next button here. Now, the next thing that it shows me is again to move the data from one place to another, right? So let's say there is something that is captured in step 1 and that you want also to be visible in step 2. You can do the configurations over here. If I click on the next button, here it actually orchestrates and designs the sequence of your flow. So if you see, the first step is left for visit. What do you want the next step to be is what is reached customer location. Once he has reached the customer location, what do you want the next step to be is available over here as visit completed. Right, all I have to do is it's by automatically the system understands the sequence and has a very linear sequence automatically available. If you would want conditions to be defined around this, you can have that designed as well. Now I click on the next actions here, and it goes to, so these are some of the advanced settings that you have, which actually comes in based on the business requirements. So I'm not going to go through these, and I'm going to click on complete. Now, once I click on complete, this process is now also available on the mobile application. So we'll just see how that is, right? So I just go back to the home page here. I scroll down. Now, if you see here, on-site visits is now available over here on the mobile application as well. Right? Now, let's see how this particular flow can be used by the executive on the field if a manager is going to assign. Right? So I have to go over, so I can actually switch to web app here, where I'm actually going to monitor. On the left menu bar, I have something called, I can actually open up that particular process. So I'll have that process enabled as well. So I'm just going to the app builder and settings. I can go to customized app configurations and simply have
Uh,
that. So if you see
Sorry,
here, anything that you do, yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Could I ask another question?
sure.
So, how does this form help us in the field actually? So, does it actually send like reminders or something like we have to finish this trip by this time or something like that? Or
Yes, yes. We also have notifications in place where, as soon as a particular trip is going to start, it has a pre-trigger notification as well, where it reminds the user that, there is a new trip that is actually going to start within the configured time that you're actually going to give. It could be 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour before, and it actually triggers a notification. If it is being delayed, you can also have an escalation matrix set up where if it is delayed for 30 minutes, it goes to an L1 manager for their notification. If it is delayed for another 60 minutes, it goes to L2. If it further delays, it goes to L3. So you can have that escalation matrix designed as well.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if you see here, I have the on-site visits available as part of the process. I click on this. It opens up a screen where it has some dashboards that are very relevant to that particular process. Let's say I want to create a new visit and I want to assign it to a particular executive, right? All I do is I click on add work here, and then it shows me those fields that we have actually created, which is customer name, starts and ends. So let's say I want him to visit Joseph, and it starts today, and I want the maximum it to be completed by tomorrow, and I can assign this particular visit to an executive, right? So I click on technician 1. Now again, there are a lot of ways of actually creating this on-site visit. So you can have an API integration which can actually talk to the third party system where there is a visit to be created. It pushes the data and creates a visit here. It can also be done on demand the way we are doing it right now. Let's say there are 100 or 200 visits that are to be done in a month, right? And you have an Excel file for that. You can actually upload that Excel file, and that creates the entire visits for you. Right? And then again, assigning the employee also happens in multiple ways. Either you can do it in a manual way where you can actually assign the technician by selecting here. You can also do it on a pin code basis where you select a particular pin code. It shows which are the employees in that particular pin code, and it sends as an invitation to them. You can also do based on the location of that customer. So if you have a lat longs of that particular customer, it actually searches which is the nearest technician or an employee for that particular customer, and automatically allocates the work to that particular executive. So you have all of these in available as part of the configurations as well. Now, once I have these on-site details available here, I click on the save button. What it does is now this actually creates that particular visit, and it also gives me the notification of with a very unique reference ID which can be used for future references, right? And it gives me, the next step is, left for visit, which is to be done by the service team or the technician 1. Right now, if I go to the mobile application, automatically I get a notification that says one on-site visits waiting for your action. Also, I if you see at the bottom, there is something called as on-site visits. There is a card which has a number 1 under it, which tells me that there is one site visit that is available for me to complete. I click on on-site visit here, and then it says customer name Joseph, and it tells me how much time is remaining for me to complete this particular task, right? So if it is green, that I still have time for it. If it is near closure and I've not completed, it turns to yellow. If it is already past the time that I actually have to close it in, it becomes red, right? So we have that kind of visibility to the users so that they actually prioritize their entire work for the day. So I click on this particular card here, and then if you see, the first step that we actually created while orchestrating the flow was left for visit. I click on left for visit. The next step is where it says reached customer location, so I click on reach customer location, where we actually created a form stating to enter the date and time, right? So I can actually click on this, enter the date and the time here. Now again, you can restrict user to actually select the date and time, and the form automatically shows what date and time this particular executive has reached at the customer location. And I click on save. The next is where it tells me the visit completed, where it will open up the form that we actually created, the visit details form. I click on visit completed, and then it shows me the customer name. So it comes Joseph. What is the gender? I enter the gender here. And then email, I enter the email. And then phone, I enter the phone number here. And then an image with the customer, right? So that it's a proof that I've actually met the customer, not simply filling in the details. So I can actually capture the image, right? And then the signature from the customer that I've actually met this particular customer. The best thing with the signature is it captures the face as well as the signature at the bottom, which actually tells you who actually signed this particular form, right? So once the signature is done, I have an option to actually click on the save button at the bottom or at the top based on the convenience of the user. I click on the save, and I click on save here. What it does is it actually closes this particular visit, and it says that this is completed, and it also shows me in the completed bucket here. So I have these different buckets that I can click and switch depending on at which stage this particular visit is in. Right now, once this is completed, it automatically syncs the entire data back to the manager, where they can actually have a visibility for this. Right. So if you see, it says 5 items pending for sync, it keeps notifying the user that if there is anything pending for them to send it back, it automatically sends back. If you see, it automatically syncs, it says sync successfully and one work has been done. Now, if I go back to this particular process, I click on the eye icon here to view the details. It tells me that it was completed 0 days ago, and it was the status is completed. When was the visit completed performed, which is 0 days ago, and who performed it? It's technician one who has performed it. If I scroll further below, it tells me the details of that particular visit. Actions performed is nothing but the history of that particular visit, left for visit, and then reach customer location. So it tells me the date and time and the location where he has actually done this activity. I scroll further below, it also tells me visit completed, what are the details that were captured, along with the image that actually can be clicked and viewed on as well. Right? You can have this particular image view, and if you see here, you can also see the lat longs, the date and time, all available on the image. Right? Even the signature, you can view it, and you can have the details on the signature as well. Right? So also, once this visit is completed, you can send out notifications and email reminders or notifications to the customer as well as to the relevant stakeholders within the organization with a PDF attached to it, which will actually give you the insights of that particular visit. If you would also want to download a PDF on demand, you can actually click on the PDF button here, click on export. What it does is it downloads a standard template that is available with the product. If you have your own design, you can get that design as well. And so if you see here, all the details will be captured in the PDF accordingly, right? So all the signatures, all the images will be captured here itself. Now going back to the home screen of on-site visits, the dashboard that it gives you, that it shows you, has some insights for you to take the decisions on these visits, right? So it actually shows you some standard status of these visits, like yet to start, unassigned, rejected, in progress, and completed. You click on that, and it actually filters out that data for you at the bottom. So we actually completed this visit, and it shows that data available for me here. In the middle, it actually tells you these on-site visits were completed at which stage. There's a possibility that the visits can actually get completed not necessarily at the last stage, could be in the middle where the customer is not available, and all of that. You can define those conditions when you're orchestrating the flow. On the right hand side, it tells you the aging of these particular visits. It tells you since the visits were created, how long it has been that these visits are not completed, right? So we give you a segregation of less than 70, 7 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 180, and greater than 180. So you actually click on the bar graph and it filters out the data for you at the bottom. Now, the same data can also be pulled out in an Excel file where you click on export filtered, where it actually helps you store, have this data available for you locally as well on your, on your personal device, right? So you can simply download, save, and open the Excel files. Right? So you have this available, and it actually gives you all the data that is actually visible there. Right? Now, these columns can again be adjusted, based on your convenience. You can have this orders, the orders resorted. You can have the data that is being captured visible over here as well. So you have the visibility at one glance itself. Right? So this is with how easy you can actually create a form, right? How you can actually easily orchestrate a flow and have these forms attached to these flows, these steps in a sequential. So as and when that step comes in, you have the data to be captured.
So that is some great insight, Hassan. Thank you so much for that.
You're
Never knew that you could actually, configure an application on web and mobile, and view it at the same time with so much ease, right? So always, at least for me, what was in my mind was if you want to build an application, you have to talk to an expert, explain the flow to him. He's going to take a couple of months. That's the fastest, and then test it before it comes live, and then before you actually start using it's really going to take some time. So anywhere between 6 to 8 months. But what you've shown us is that it's pretty easy to do this, right? A quick
right.
question that I have is that you've spoken about a service ticket here. Right now, I could be dealing with products where I could be servicing a product that's possibly in a basement, or probably in a remote location where there is an issue of connectivity. How does this product help? Because see, this is a primary problem that a lot of people on the field have.
Absolutely great. So the first thing that I wanted to tell was to do the entire configurations on this particular product, you don't have to have an IT background, right? I'm a pure functional guy, right? It took me around 5 minutes to get this done for you, right? So it only takes a little bit of training to get your process set by yourself on the product,
Absolutely.
right? The second thing where you have actually spoken about, if there is no data, the best part with the application is it was kept in mind building that, there could be visits done in the rural areas. So it is available for you both offline and online. Right? So if there is no data available or there's no network, we don't stop the user to perform their activities. Right? We give them the flexibility to do it either offline or online. If there is no network, they perform everything on the mobile application. As soon as they get the network connected, right, it sends the entire data to their supervisor or to their manager that they have completed this data. Until then, the data remains with the mobile application itself.
So what you're basically telling me is that even if my engineer is in a basement where there is no network, once he clicks open the app, the form will be available to him, so that
Absolutely.
data can be captured,
Absolutely.
right? And then whenever he comes out, it will sync it back automatically.
Absolutely. Anything that you actually design, or you could design a form or you design a flow, we send the entire details on the mobile application. So mobile itself becomes the owner of that process, and they can actually start using it then and there.
Another quick question: does it work both on Android and iOS, or is it only
Absolutely.
Android?
It is available for you both on App Store as well as on the Play Store as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much, Hassan. That was, great insights that you have. I mean, that you have given us, and really easy to build up an application. I can visualize, various kinds of workflows that are various kinds of use cases that I want to bring on this application. It's pretty friendly. I guess we have, overshot time, and then I'd like to quickly, wind this before I thank you once again for taking us, through this whole. Through this session for us. Now, for everybody who is on the webinar, really like to thank you for having joined us today. And sorry, is there a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So, yeah, so when you have low data or something, you can still go in and check the forms. But
Yes, yes, that
what
is what it is.
what
Yeah.
do we do if the phone has like low charging and then it could get turned off during the task? So, like, you still track them where they are? Are they still doing the work or no?
Yeah, so there are two things here, Aryan. Thanks for asking that question. The first is we have an option of having forms on draft mode, right? So let's say, for
Mhm.
example, you're filling a very lengthy form, right? And in the middle of you're filling the form, the mobile gets turned off, right? What we
Mhm.
do is we actually save that half captured data. So as when as you open the, you charge the mobile application and then you open up the phone, it actually has that older data available for you, so you don't have to start from the beginning, right? Secondly,
Okay.
once the mobile device is off, then the data that the web should receive, the manager should receive, will be cut off there, because it has to be online for you to have the data pass through.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. So for all those who are watching, please feel free to sign up with Effort. You have a 14-day free trial there. Please come explore the application, play around. You have any doubts, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you explain the whole product process, how it works, take you through, give you some training to get started off with. We'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you once again, Hassan, for taking us through. And for all those who are watching this, our next webinar will be on the 1st of March, and we will be speaking about uh, exploring the impact of no code on a very, very important business or industry that we have across the globe today, which is your BFSI and BFC. How Effort has helped a couple of our customers in managing multiple use cases within their organizations, how we have complied with regulations that each of them have, and how easy it was for them to make changes when there were regulatory changes. So we will look forward to seeing you. Our CEO, Mr. Ramakrishna Reddy, will be part of the discussion. The head of our customer success team, Mr. Sridhar, will be part of the discussion, and I certainly will be there to moderate and help you. So see you guys around. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.